Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. What's up, Internet? It's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means we're live. Twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. My name's Mike Byrne. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo, your weekly gaming wrap-up podcast. Oh, yeah, we've got chat. They're ready to go. Chime in on any of the topics we're going to be talking about today. If you'd like to join us live, head on over twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. We've got this show on Saturday, the Relic Grind for Final Fantasy XIV and Square Enix on Thursdays. All kinds of streams throughout the week, including myself with Final Fantasy trading card games and other TCGs. So it's just a great time here. Give us the follow. If you head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com, right there you can see the site if you're on YouTube. Upper right-hand corner of the website proper shows all the links to all the socials. So you can watch us here live, watch us on YouTube, listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, anywhere you want to hear us. We would appreciate your support, though. Give us a little like, a little thumbs up, a little comment, action, feed the algorithm, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff, all that free stuff. Doesn't cost you anything, but it tells us keep doing what you're doing. We like it. And, of course, tell your friends. Help us grow. I've got some friends, speaking of those, with me to go through some gaming news this week. First up, Jason Winter. And Jason, chat has speculated you have nothing in your background today.
Same thing I had yesterday. I had my University of Minnesota Duluth ruler. And I'm not going to repeat the story again. You should have watched it on Always Online.
Yeah, we did talk. We did talk about this ruler on the Always Online podcast.
About the great story of that ruler. But what I really wanted to show you though was this.
He's leaving.
Oh.
Wait, but did he just show us that he has the ability to spin around?
I'm very spiny. See.
You're very.
He's very spiny.
So you can't miss pre-show, gang. You can't miss pre-show. But if you want to know the story of the ruler, head on over to mmobomb.com where Jason and I and some other friends of ours work, and that's the one that actually pays the bills. So please do visit that. Check out the Always Online podcast. Also on the line with Art on the table, resident artist of Ready Check Radio, Yod. How are you, sir?
All right, nothing today, just the background. But unfortunately, I'm wedged up against the table here to get in frame, so I am not spiny.
You're not spiny.
I am not spiny.
You cannot do the spines.
I cannot.
I
cannot
rotate.
do the spines.
I could, but my headphone cable,
That's why I had to take mine off.
Yeah.
Yes, I do not.
You were
I
smart.
Not have that, yeah.
So, hey, we got a lot to talk about, gang. We're going to talk about how Sony and Xbox are both handling chip shortages, productions, distribution challenges, things like that. We've got feels a little console war. I hate that term, by the way. I can't stand the whole console war thing. It's play what you like and leave it.
Whole chip shortage thing. I mean, I got Doritos, I got potato chips.
Jesus. Gonna be a hell of an hour. But we've also got the DICE Awards. We're gonna make predictions that Jason, I'm sure, will record just to make sure we get them wrong.
Yeah.
But before we start, there was a little bit of breaking news today. It's not like mega news, but it is interesting and maybe it could be consequential. So I did want to bring it up. The gentlemen here don't know it. I did not put it in the show notes because I found it just before the show. And so I want to kind of get your gut reaction about this, guys. The North America now has its first officially recognized, unionized video game development house. And it's small, obviously. It's, we're not talking Activision or anything like that yet.
Hopefully.
But Vodio Games, they have unionized, officially unionized. They were founded earlier this year by Three's creator Asher Volmore. The studio's first game was Beast Breaker, which released in September of this year. You can play that on Switch and on the Epic Games Store. They have officially unionized, with management voluntarily recognizing the union as well. It does include both full-time employees and contracted workers. Now, again, on the smaller side of things, the staff's about 13 as far as official head count. remotely working. And so it has 13 total employees and then also the contracted workers spread across the U.S. and Canada. So they worked, Vodeo Workers United partnered with Code CWA, who has been helping facilitate some of the attempts to unionize with Activision or at Activision Blizzard and things like that. Now, this isn't the first gaming in general union, but it is the first video game development house because we do have other companies like the Cards Against Humanity Workers United as far as tabletop gaming goes. Voltage, organized workers, the Lovestruck Choose Your Romance developers who went on strike for 21 days in 2022. They technically did win the ability to create a union, but it came without official union recognition. So put some qualifiers on the term if you want, but as far as its first recognized management voluntary recognized union, we got it. Jason, what's your gut reaction on it? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Will it maybe help some of these other smaller companies move the needle in that direction, which if enough of those move the needle, did they then in turn move the needle for the, single A, double A, triple A studios? Or does this, hey, good for those 13 employees and all their contracted workers, but it's going to take a big dog to really change things? How do you feel?
That's exactly how I feel. It's nice that the 13 you said, plus their contractors are doing this. It's a good to have in general, but I mean, 13 people plus management can reasonably come to an agreement on things even without a union. So I don't think this is a really big deal unless you have those companies with hundreds or thousands of people actually being a part of this sort of thing.
But it always does take a first.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Somebody has to open the door, big or small. The door has to be open.
I don't think it's going to impact what anybody thinks of Activision Blizzard, though, really in the slightest.
Oh, no. No.
Yod, you on the same page?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it will take a larger company to do something to actually, kick it into high gear. But like you said, Mike, there's small steps. Everything starts somewhere. And if this is the company it starts with, this is the company it starts with, it is, like you said, a start. It's not the end. It's a start.
Well, it's certainly not the end. Yeah, it's far from being the end.
So that's the whole thing. It's a start, and good for them for taking that step. Let's hope other companies take up the reins as well, and let's hope larger companies put their foot forward, which will then push other larger companies to do the same, and so on and so forth until it becomes commonplace.
Pick a big company, Jason. It doesn't have to be like a big, huge mega house like an EA or something like that, but a recognizable. Like if you said this gaming company to a generic average gamer, they would probably know who the company was, right? Pick a company that you think actually has a shot or where management might be more inclined to go along rather than fight against a potential unionization. Is there one in your mind? Like we talked before about maybe ArenaNet possibly being that type of company.
Coming to my head.
but there's challenges there with what would then Tencent's reaction be? Do they just dissolve it, or do they work within the confines of unionization in the United States?
Tencent owned NCSoft. What do you mean?
Oh yeah. Sorry, NCSoft. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, that's the first one I would think of off the top of my head is a company like ArenaNet, which has always seemed fairly progressive. Otherwise, I mean, it's like you said, most of them are going to be of the same. Anything that is of a decent size is generally of that kind of company where the management is like, we're the managers, we know what we're doing, and we know what's best for you, and you don't need that sort of thing. So it's of course me not really even knowing who's in charge of ArenaNet anymore since Mike O'Brien left and they have some mystery person running the show there. Right. So who the heck knows? But
yeah, Justin pointing out something in here. This is more verbiage for those that aren't familiar with unionization, and I guess I should be a little more clear in this, so that it's reported correctly. They worked with Code CWA. CWA is the Communication Workers of America. I actually belonged, full disclosure, to that union for years. When I worked for Verizon many years in the past. That actual established union, CWA, assisted this company in unionizing itself. They did not create the first official video game union where multiple companies could sign on to be represented by this union body. This company has created its own union, and it will operate in the confines of the company. This was not the creation of like the video game equivalent of the CWA, although CWA is assisting all over the place. Not just in this, they are the ones that are assisting in potential hopes to unionize at Activision Blizzard and with some of these other bigger companies as well. I would assume at some point, if the ball rolled down the hill far enough, that CWA would be involved in the creation of a VWA, a Video Workers Association or something like that. Interesting, though, the needle moving a little bit. It's no longer at zero. I mean, it might not be that far above zero, but it is not at zero anymore.
Small steps.
Small steps. We'll see. Moving on, let's talk about Sony and Xbox, gentlemen, because both are having pretty good console generations right now as far as sales and stuff go. Now, we all know there's like chip shortages. These things are hard to get, et cetera, et cetera. And are they hard to get because of the chip shortage? Are they hard to get because demand is, being inflated a little bit due to COVID and more people gaming? Are they being artificially inflated by companies, if you want to be tinfoil hattish about it, not producing as many to keep demand high? There's a lot of that type of conversation going on. But when you aren't producing enough PS5s and Xbox Series S and X's, people want to know what you're doing with the old generation. And it's a little early, if you go back and look at the history, right, of every generation that pops, it would be a little early to kill off something like the PlayStation 4. Not saying they couldn't. They certainly could if they wanted to. But it would be a little bit early as far as looking at their previous trends. So both companies are taking totally different approaches to last gen. And I want to talk about them a little bit and get your opinion on who's doing it better. We found out this week that Sony is going to continue manufacturing the PlayStation 4. Now, I wasn't all that surprised by that because the previous PlayStation usually survives about 3 years or so into the next console generation, and we're just over like the 1 year mark, 2 year mark, approaching the 2 year mark, right?
And this when there's normal distribution channels and
exactly.
walk into a store and actually buy the next generation console.
Right. So Sony's going to confirm that the PS4 production is still ongoing. There was a whole report on Bloomberg where they said this is the PS4 is one of the best-selling consoles ever, and there is always crossover between the two generations. And so, we should still be creating the PS4. Now, that doesn't mean that the PS4 itself is generally available, Jason. If you do a quick search of Walmart.com or Target.com or even GameStop.com, even the PS4 Slim, which is the one that you're most likely to be able to get right now, that's not exactly readily available either.
Yeah. I don't know what the commentary is. Yes, you are correct. It is not that easy to find.
The flip side of this is that Xbox, and we already knew this, they wound down production of previous Xbox versions as they were heading into the launch for the Xbox Series S and X, and they basically finished at the end of 2020, ish, okay? But they did also make a statement coinciding with this report, because I guess some reporters, and I think I'm echoing in your headset there, Yad.
Oh, Jesus.
They were like asked to make a statement about Sony, and they said, "Hey, we're done with those. Like when you thought we were done at the end of 2020, we were done. We stopped making the Xbox One console, S consoles at the end of the last generation." And they said to focus on the production of the Xbox Series X and S, we stopped production for all Xbox One consoles by the end of 2020. So we've got two totally different approaches to last gen. Sony, on one hand, saying we're still going to make the old ones when they're available, which primarily buy them directly from them is probably your best shot if you're looking for one. And Xbox saying, you know what? No, we're going to focus on just the new one. And there's already chip shortages and stuff like that. We don't need to be spreading those shortages around multiple SKUs. we're focused squarely on the new generation. Who's making the right call here, Jason?
I just lean toward PlayStation because I think it's good to be able to continue to, because what's known is that they don't make money off the consoles. Consoles are not what makes money. They're basically a loss leader.
They do now, though. Like when you reach this point in the PlayStation 4's lifespan, the PlayStation 4 is making profit now on a per unit basis. The PlayStation 5 certainly is not, to your point.
Yeah, but the thing is, then you still want to sell the games. Those are what's actually making the good money, especially even more so. And if you don't have the PlayStation, or if you don't have a PS5 or an Xbox fridge, well, losing my head here, the Xbox
Series X or
Series
S.
X, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Series, because I had the S and X, I couldn't figure the rest of it. Yeah, if you don't have those, then you're not selling the games. And that's what you really want to do. So as long as if you can keep manufacturing, even if you're manufacturing the old one and selling the old games, that's still bringing in something while you try to get the new one back in stock and the games for that as well. So I don't see why you would discontinue them if you're not able to get the new one out. Discontinue the old console if you're not able to get the new console out.
Well, so counter argument, and we'll let Yod chime in here. Counter argument could be you're only going to get so many components. Wouldn't you want to use those components in the creation of the PlayStation 5 components instead of having to parcel out some of the silicone that you were able to get or some of the whatever materials you're short? Do you really want to parse some of those out to PlayStation 4 when you can't keep the PlayStation 5 on the shelf and the PlayStation 4 has arguably run its lifespan as far as being a main revenue driver for Sony?
So, bouncing off of that idea, I actually kind of had a theory going on here. So, grab that tinfoil hat and put it on. So, Microsoft already stated before, as they were launching the Series X, that they're winding down production, right?
Yeah, that they were going to start slowing it down at that time, yeah.
Right. So, which means the chipset, which is different from the Xbox One to the Series.
Right,
X,
but the shortage has like semiconductors and things like that. You're going to use those in both.
Right.
If I send you 100 semiconductors, you're going to use them to create chipsets for whatever you need.
Right, but do they actually build the chipsets themselves, or do the chipsets
in many cases, no. And we've talked about Sony actually investing in Japanese chipset plants in the future.
Exactly. So Microsoft already told their supplier, hey, we don't need this chipset anymore. So their trickle in of supplies from their chipset dealer has stopped. So in that case, Microsoft possibly already doesn't have the components to put together Xbox Ones anymore. All they have left are the components that are the same between the Xbox One and the Series X, and they're waiting for the chipset to come in for the Series X. On the other hand, Sony, who did not announce that they were stopping PS4 production, may have X amount of PS4 chipsets left, because in the article it did say they were ordering something around 1 million units or something like that, so there's a set number. So that set number may be the amount of chipsets they have left. So they're going to put those together to ship out.
See, I take off the tinfoil hat there a little bit, because then I think your PR message is, hey, we have allocations for another X million units. After that, we're not going to make any more. But we expect these X million units to be enough to hold the market for the next 24 months or whatever, based on current sales.
That could totally be it, but they're not going to tell people that. They're going to tell people, hey, man, we know you want these game units, something to play with your friends, so the last-gen units can play with the new-gen units, so we're going to make some more of the last-gen units while we still can and sell them to you, so you can play with your friends.
Optics-wise, though, Jason, who wins here? Because you've got Sony, who you might look at as a consumer and say, okay, cool. Like, at least they're giving me something. I'm personally not interested in buying a PlayStation 4, so it doesn't impact me. But if I couldn't get a PS5 and I didn't have a PS4 and, maybe I thought, a lot of these games are cross generations anyway, I'll go ahead and grab a PlayStation 4. At least something might be there for me. On the other side, as that same consumer might look at Xbox and say, that company is committed to this new generation at the expense of, you know what? We don't care about making revenue off the old ones anymore. When we get parts in, we want to make sure that they're going for our newest machine because demand is high and we want to get those out there for you. So I can see pros on both sides of the optics here, the PR optics. Does one company come out in a better position on that front?
Consumers don't care about commitment. They want stuff now.
Yeah.
Sony giving them more stuff now, so that they win.
I gotta agree with Jason there.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, I might personally look and I say I like Xboxes, just saying, hey, we're done with that. Let's move on as a personal opinion. But, from global gaming standards, I can't argue with you.
They say they still had like 1 million, they sold like 1 million of them or something like that.
Yeah.
PS4s. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still doing something, obviously. There's still some demand.
The other thought, though, is that are these PS4s still selling?
Oh, yeah. They are.
That's what I was just saying.
That's what Jason was just saying, yeah.
Sorry, you're a little quieter on my headset since I turned it down.
Oh, sorry, I'll speak up.
Well, I'm going to have to fix that audio for iTunes.
But yeah, so if they're still selling, people are still buying, people are still wanting, why not give it to them?
Yod of the let them eat cake generation.
Hell, why not?
Let them make cake and cooking simulator or something.
We're going to come back to this whole chip shortage and availability of the market in a second when we talk about some more Xbox stuff. But let's leave Xbox to the side just for a second to talk a little bit about Sony. To be clear, what I'm about to show you is fan-made. Okay, this is fan-made. There are many, many pictures of different chargers and stuff for this, but this is an actual design company putting together mock-ups for PlayStation, for Sony's next handheld system. We had the PSP, we had the PS Vita, both, maybe not so much the PSP, but I love my PS Vita. Particularly because I'm a big RPG guy, and damn, there's some great RPGs on there. But so this is a mock-up of
Parasite Eve 3 was on there.
Yeah, what a potential next-gen PlayStation Portable could look like. Obviously, Jason borrowing a lot from the Nintendo Switch as far as its overall concept. One, would you like to see a handheld out of Sony? Something that isn't the Switch? Knowing that, hey, by the way, something else we're going to talk about later is looking like it's going to release on time, too. So is there a market for this that you would like to see it in? And two, Justin,
good question, but yeah,
jumping to the next logical question is: would Sony even be interested in entering this market anymore, given their past experience with it? And could you even potentially enter this market right now with the same chip shortages we were just talking about?
I mean, the PSP did pretty well. We just forget about the Vita, but the PSP did pretty well, and you do have the resurgence of the Switch or the
Vita is awesome. Shut up.
All right. But yeah, I mean, the way the Switch has been going and the way that all has been, I'm surprised that. Well, obviously, again, we're talking about somebody getting into the handheld market. I'm surprised there isn't more of an interest from PlayStation or even from Microsoft to do this sort of thing. So yeah, I think they're going to examine it at least over the next decade or so as we see how the Switch goes and as they see again how the chips and whatever go on. Assuming there's still a planet, all the crypto miners haven't burned down all the rainforests yet. We're going to check that out. But yeah, I think it's something that they will probably look into at some future point.
Really? I don't know. I feel like, you know what? We got burnt twice. We're done. We're done there.
Burnt once. Again, the PSP was pretty good. The Vita,
no, it wasn't.
I don't know. It depends, guys. Can we sell NFTs on this thing?
What do you think, Yad?
I don't know. I mean, I keep looking at this thing and wonder what's with the inverted joystick thingies, where they go inside. But anyways, yeah, I think Sony's gonna take a look at it. They're gonna take a hard look at it. They're always gonna take a look at it to see if they can make some money somewhere. Because if you can sell more consoles, you can sell more games. You can sell more games, you can make more money. So if you've got someone buying games on both a home console and a handheld console that you both supply them, that's double the profit.
The
Of course,
PSP sold 80 million units. The
Yeah,
Vita
and
sold
the-
15.
Well,
16.
the-
Yeah, I'm seeing 16. But again,
thing with
you're
the
talking also about its actual initial run. The
Right,
games for the PSP sucked.
Well,
Well,
maybe. I
The
don't know.
game library for the PSP
the
sucked.
thing
It
with
was
the
so much better.
PSP,
And the Switch has like 32 million lifetime and is stunningly successful.
right?
So PSP initially does sell well, but its lifespan was way short. And it
Right.
was primarily because
12
of this
years.
fucking UMD.
Well,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it'll be exactly
yeah.
like the PSP. There are issues to solve. All
Oh,
I do
yeah,
is
yeah,
just
yeah.
copy the Switch.
Right, and
Like this
I
guy's
think
doing.
one of the
Copy the
problems with the
Switch.
Vita was that some people bought the PSP and got burnt by it, so they didn't go back for the
Yeah,
Vita.
they
even though
didn't
the
want to
Vita
go
was
back to the
a better
well.
machine.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you don't even use physical media if you make the new PSP or whatever. Just like
well,
you know,
that's
from the
also
Switch.
another thing is that the PSP and the Vita back then they used physical media.
Yeah.
We were still really reliant on physical media, so it was kind of a different beast back then. So
Yeah.
Sony is still going to take a look at it, especially with them trying to prove that physical media isn't needed anymore with the, you know, PS5s that don't have a physical drive on them. See if they sell better than the ones with the drive. So if they can prove that the digital media is more abundantly accepted, they may go for a system that is purely handheld digital. It's a way they can go.
And in
if they can
fact,
do
is the
that,
way something else is going that we will talk about a little later.
right.
Literally the exact way. Just to put some rumors on the show here, because Jason loves when we do that. Although this really
This
isn't
is this is really great. Go ahead.
this
I got
isn't
something to say about
anything.
this.
This really
Where-
isn't
where are
like, oh
we?
my God, will this game come out? This is, hey, PlayStation State of Play. The next one, rumors are that it'll probably be in February.
So it's a
and
rumor of an
that
announcement of announcements.
And there could
Killing
be
me,
some
Mike.
bigger news for potential PlayStation 5 users. This coming from Tom Henderson via The Gamer, who does have a track record with at least these kinds of things. He said that the State of Play event should be coming in February, and what's more, it could be a pretty big one compared to recent outings. And I think that just makes sense. Like, most rumors you look at and you go, Jason, could it be or could it not be? Like, I think we're due for one. February makes sense for a State of Play. There's a lot of stuff coming out in February, March. If they wait too long, then it's kind of like you're butting right up against E3. Why not just be at E3, which they haven't been for years? So, just do your State of Play in the end of February, beginning of March. And it kind of makes sense to me that there would be, like, we don't have God of War Ragnarok release news yet. Like, there are big titles we already know about that there is big information that could be tied to them. I look at this and I go, yeah, this is probably right, and I'm not all that surprised by it.
Yeah.
I mean, E3's gone digital. They could just go right up against E3.
I don't think Sony would go up against
Nah,
E3.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just shit talk.
I mean, you may not want to spend the money to be there, but you also don't want to have to try to spend the money to run simultaneously
Right,
with
right.
them.
But yeah, that sounds like a good time with everything coming out. State of Play past few times tended to be just a bunch of trailers of these things will be out in a week or two type of deals, anyways. So
Welcome to
why
the
not?
PlayStation State of Play. Deathloop is still a thing.
Speaking of.
Every state of play. And there's another title that I think a lot of people are interested in that got delayed, Jason, that we don't know an awful lot about right now, and that is Gran Turismo 7.
Show the B-roll. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yep, we got a little video
Oh, it's
showing
pretty.
off Daytona
is very
Speedway.
pretty.
It looks amazing.
And it doesn't do
looks
justice that
amazing.
if you're watching this on the stream, you see the little window down there. You got to get blown up to full screen on your PC.
Yeah,
Your big
yeah. I mean, a
monitor or
lot of
whatever.
people pumped for Gran Turismo. I've been enjoying Forza. I don't know. Gran Turismo, I have played in years past since it launched back on the PlayStation 1, the entire series.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Like, I guess I'm not enough a car guy because it was always so granular that I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't care anymore. I'm
Yeah.
done. I don't care anymore. But damn, does that look good? It looks gorgeous.
Mhm. I want to just watch it. I just want to watch someone stream it.
Right. I mean,
I don't care to play
I
it.
don't like racing games at all, and this is really freaking pretty. And I found myself just staring at it, watching it, going, "Wow."
Mad Martha, mad that we're not talking about Stalker 2 getting delayed. Hey, we're trying to give good news today. Good news today. Good news today. It looks great. It looks great.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it's just throw it in that bin of titles that, could, make sense that the next state of play would probably be a little bigger than most. When you've got this, you've got God of War Ragnarok, you've got all kinds of titles we know about that we're awaiting official release information for. So just makes sense. Now let's flip to the other side, gentlemen, and we'll talk a little bit about Xbox, because Phil Spencer was just like running his mouth all over the place in the last week. Just like everywhere. Like anybody that wanted to talk to Phil
Actually,
Spencer.
I think it was the same interview. It just got spread out over like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest here.
Yeah. So I'm going to say something first that he says in one of the interviews. And to quote, this is when he was talking to the New York Times, basically all of this. I think I might have something from a different source when we get there. If it is, and I'm just wrong, I'll quote it. If not, it's also the New York Times interview. And as far as console shortages, one thing he did say that I think initially will raise an eyebrow is that, hey, we really don't have a console shortage. The demand is the problem. The demand is so much higher than normal in previous generations.
I read that.
Our production is about the same, but the demand is so much higher. And both of you just did it, and I did it initially too. You rolled your eyes a little bit. You're like, yeah, okay, whatever. I did too. But there's something else that he says in another interview that you would expect has to be true if his supposition of demand being the issue, that you would expect him to say, and he does say it. He does go out and say that the Xbox Series X and S have outsold all the previous Xbox consoles at this point in their life cycle, which would have to be true, right? If demand were the problem and not supply. Because you had more consoles to actually sell, you beat the selling points of the previous lifespan, and that would kind of virtually prove, Jason, that, hey, the demand is the thing that's different this generation around. Do you buy both statements? Because you need both. You need that second one to be true for the first one to even be plausible.
I think the first one can be false and the second one can be true.
So okay. So mathematically, tell me how you can outsell your predecessors and have a shortage of units, not an overabundance of demand.
Because it's a year and a half into making this thing. So if you didn't have a shortage, you would be making them hand over fist, just pumping them out of your factories or whatever. At this point, you should be caught up, I feel like.
No. He's not saying that there isn't a shortage. He's just saying that the shortage, of parts and stuff like that. Obviously he would love to make more of them. And hey, we're double what we sold at this point in lifespans.
Did he say double? Did he give an actual number?
No.
Just saying that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Obviously, yeah. I would love to be. I don't want to be a little bit above the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One X. I'd love to be double above those. And without chip shortages, I think I could produce double. But he's kind of saying, hey, the problem, we've made just as many as we've ever made at this point. In fact, we've made more and sold more than we've ever made at this point. But demand is so exponentially higher than it's been that's the real culprit, and we just happen to have this shortage happening at the same time that prevents me from meeting that demand.
And that's a part of it. He said, or I know you're paraphrasing, you're just kind of making stuff up there, but that's the part of it.
I'm not making it up. I'm trying to simplify the discussion a little.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but you're saying that, but because we have the shortage, we can't do. Well, if you didn't have the shortage, then you wouldn't have an issue. You'd be caught up with demand. So
I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if there's an actual demand the way he's inciting that there's more demand for it than there was last time for the 360. I mean, I'm sure there's a bit more because it is a better machine. But I think part of it may be, the fact that when somebody goes into a store or a online shop or whatever, and they try to buy what they want, what their kid wants or what they want, and it's not there, but the other one is, they'll just go and get the other one.
Yeah, I think what his overall point was not to try and claim there wasn't a shortage, Jason. I think his overall kind of what he was saying is, hey, they're not available, not because our supply has been so much lower as it has been in the past, but because the demand is higher. It's not, yes, we have a shortage and we would love to make more and meet all the demand. But I think it was more battling perception of things here. Right. They just haven't made as many. The easy excuse of they just haven't made as many. And he's saying, oh, no. We've, in fact, made more at this point in its lifespan than we ever have before.
Okay, yeah.
And we've sold more than we ever have before. But the demand is also more than we've ever had before, and we can't meet it. We can't meet that demand. I think that's more because of the shortage. Yeah, I don't think he was trying to discount the shortage.
Okay.
I think he was just trying to get away that perception of they haven't made as many. They aren't making as many. He didn't say he made more, though, did he? You would have to make more to sell more than you had at this span. He's not talking about revenue, Justin. He's talking about units sold there.
Right.
He says we sold more. So
he's talking about units.
Right. Yeah. That's number of products.
No.
sold.
Yeah, you're right. They can sit on the shelf. Find me some pictures of shelves just full of Xbox One S's and X's just sitting there, not being bought, and I think you have a point. The problem is those shelves don't exist, so they've sold more.
Right.
The swell in usage in gaming was a surprise to us. Back in what would have been March, April of 2020, we sold out of consoles, something we never do. Despite shortages of consoles last year, Microsoft said that the Xbox Series S and X is the fastest-selling Xbox ever. And then we've got, Redfall and Starfield and stuff like that to look forward to later this year. So kind of interesting. Just kind of, beating back that it's not because we don't want to make them. It's not because we haven't been able to make them. We have.
But again, I go back to what I said earlier, which is all the gamers want is, can I get it now? I can't.
Right.
Not making enough.
Right.
However many you're making,
it's
not enough.
There's no PS5, but there's the Xbox Series X. I'll get the Xbox Series X for now until the PS4 comes in, so I can connect with my friends.
And then I'll get my PS3, and we'll just be
there. You go.
Network four of them together and making a new PS5.
Right.
Xbox or Phil Spencer also saying that Xbox has, quote, changed how we do certain things, end quote, with Activision. Now, he was very diplomatic and PR here, which he kind of has to be, right? You're talking one person in charge to another right here. He says, the work we do specifically with a partner like Activision is something that obviously I'm not going to talk publicly about. We have changed how we do things with them, and they're aware of that. But this isn't about, for us at Xbox, virtue shaming other companies. Xbox's history is not spotless, and he's talked about painful moments in Xbox's history. Some of the things that make me proud of that is how we came out of that, the work that we did as a team. I believe we're stronger now because of that, not that I would choose to repeat that if I could actually make that choice. And they tried to push him on like Bobby Kotick himself, and he was like, yeah, it's not our position to judge who CEOs of different companies should be. But I do think it is interesting, Jason, that he did acknowledge it's changed how we do business with them. What that actually means, though, do we send the email to somebody else when we ask questions? Is that what you've changed? What does that actually mean? I think if you're going to make that statement that you have changed, I think you need to provide at least one example, or you just don't make any of this statement.
I mean, you don't even have to give the exact specification. If it is something along the lines of, our contract is different. We're giving them less money. You could say that we've changed the deals of our contract. You don't have to say you give them 5% more or 10% less or whatever, but say something that's a little more specific than that.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to. Justin saying the same thing as you. They just charge them more now, and maybe that is the case. Maybe revenue splits have changed. I don't know. Could be something like that. That's the type of stuff that'll get Bobby Kotick thrown out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What I
when
would
that
believe
type of
instead
stuff.
would be more of a if you don't change within a certain deadline, then we'll make real changes. I believe it's more. I
Yeah,
believe it's something more like that. So
I would think so too. Which don't say this then.
yeah.
You have given an ultimatum, but you haven't pulled the trigger on it.
Right.
You will be very happy to know, Yod, that Mr. Spencer thinks that Netflix is going about getting into gaming the right way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Just says it's just a very smart way for them to jump into gaming. You know, now they're looking more at the mobile and stuff like that side to being able to stream via cloud. He says, I think it's smart what Netflix is doing. They're buying some studios. They're learning about the creative process of interactive entertainment, and I think it's a very smart way for them to move into the space. Netflix clearly has cloud. Amazon has cloud. Google has a real cloud capability. But without content, community, and cloud, I think getting into gaming right now, and you can see this, and you can see this is what Netflix is doing. From a streaming standpoint, it is a smart thing. I'd say the difference for us is in the business model of you can buy every game that's available on the subscription service, talking about Game Pass, which is a little different than the music subscription or movie subscription style stuff coming out of companies like Netflix. So seems to be a little impressed. I'm not impressed because my Netflix subscription just went up again. You sons of bitches.
Because they got to pay for those mobile games, whatever you're going to
That's right.
stream.
No,
or whatever
no. That's free, Jason. That's
it's
free.
free.
Yeah, that's
okay.
part of the
Free?
subscription.
Free
Remember?
or
We
free?
all said this. We all said this back then. They were like, no, it's not going to be any additional subscription. It'll just be part of your subscription. For now, yeah. And we're like, then the subscription fee is going to go up. And here we are, even before gaming is really even a thing from Netflix for all intents and purposes, the subscription fee going up again. Damn it.
How
But
much
it's
did
smart,
Netflix
Jan.
plus Flickster cost? Wasn't it like $15 something total?
I don't know.
I never did Flickster.
I didn't either.
Nobody
I didn't
did. That was the problem.
Yeah.
I think they missed the mark with that.
Yeah.
Quote,
yeah, that's
unquote.
too.
Quote unquote. That's their
That
favorite.
is
Business
lower on my list of
perspective.
things I like. That in case you missed it, just so you know at this point, it's down there.
But from
Go ahead,
a business
Jan.
perspective, Netflix is going about it the right way. You raise the subscription fee because, whatever BS reason you give, and then you funnel a little money into the video game companies you bought to produce some mobile games, which
Where
mobile
my
games can be
Gamefly
played on your
at?
phone.
Fucking A.
But you can which is where a lot of people are streaming their Netflix anyways, is on the phone. So then you just add mobile games on there where people play those games anyways, because everybody's got a phone.
You all have phones, don't you?
Yeah, and then once you start using the games that you've produced on your little mobile app, you start doing the in-app purchases on those mobile games, and you make more money. That's how you do it on those games. That's how Netflix is going to go about doing it.
Justin says, "Where my GameFly at?" I got a better reference from you. Where my OnLive at? Where my on? If you get that reference, we're friends. The 25th Dice Awards are coming up, and the nominees have been revealed. So I think, gentlemen, we should make some predictions. Sure to go wrong. Jason will record as always. Yeah, get the spreadsheet up. We're not going to go through all of them. You can find them on many different sites, Game Informer, whatever. We're going to use Game Informer's list, just in the interest of full quoting of our sources. Now, I do think we should point out for viewers who maybe aren't familiar with the Dice Awards, they are
best Battlefield game.
they work a little differently than like something like the Game Awards, right? Where there's fan voting and then there's, media voting and stuff like this. The Dice Awards, design, innovate, communicate, and entertain, DICE. That's actually run by the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. And so it's an industry-only event. And it's kind of like, if you develop games, while it's nice to win a game award, this is probably the award you really, really want to get, because this is kind of being recognized by your artistic peers, your technology peers, rather than just like fans voting for their favorite game.
And
So
yet
I-
it's virtually
I
all the
like
same
this
games.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's gonna virtually be all the same nominees. It's not like they got a different slew of games to pick from.
It's like the Game Awards, but they're exactly the same and less popular.
Well, and I think you have to think about making your predictions a little bit differently, knowing that the audience, that's making the decisions may not just be looking for that was the best game, I loved playing it, but maybe looking at things through a little bit more of an arts or a technology lens. Maybe some categories that could be influential. So let's start with Game of the Year. The nominees are Deathloop, Inscription, It Takes Two, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which, by the way, is the darling of these nominations, scooping up, I think, like 9 different nominations or something stupid like that, and Returnal. Yad, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Ratchet and Clank on this one. Because it got so many nominations.
Huh. I mean, this is one that from like an art, if I were an artist, right, it's very pretty, like all that stuff. It's, it's creative and the technology is there. As a game fan, I'm like, I absolutely enjoyed playing the game with my daughter. We love the Ratchet and Clank games, but there wasn't anything generally too super new about it. I think from an artistic standpoint, though, I actually favor Returnal for this category. I think it's a bit more expressive, a bit more of something different. I could also obviously see It Takes Two taking this. I wanted them to take it from the Game Awards. Deathloop might be fun and stuff, and Inscription, yeah. I'm gonna go with It Takes Two, Jason. I'm gonna say It Takes Two. Walks away.
I'd actually written Returnal on your sheet, but then I just had to copy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go It Takes Two.
Had to copy and paste from my pick because I'm choosing It Takes Two. It wasn't a big commercial seller, but it still won a glob of awards at Game Awards. It's a critical darling too, so it's going to be fine. It's going to win for sure.
I would not be, and Mad Martha, I think, kind of agreed with that in chat, though. I would not be surprised if Returnal walked away with this. I do believe it is like the more artistic title.
Right. Returnal was a close second in my mind.
Let's go in Outstanding Achievement in Animation. Jason, you'll go first. Your nominees here are Call of Duty Vanguard. I couldn't even get through the name without laughing. Deathloop, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, or Resident Evil Village. Outstanding Achievement in Animation.
So basically the prettiest animations.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Kena. Because I having watched a little bit of that and seeing the whimsical animation and movements and so forth, I think that's probably what would.
I would imagine that's probably Yod's pick too. He keeps calling that game a Pixar movie in game form.
Yep, that's what I'm going with for that one.
All right.
In the interest of trying to break up the points, I don't think either of you are wrong. Kena would be tied here for my pick. I will take Ratchet and Clank. The other, that fur animation is spot on.
Yeah,
so
the fur animation is pretty good.
That's
although the physics.
Mike's into fur animation. We know that now. All right.
I hate doing this show. Let's go with Outstanding Technical Achievement. This is kind of a bold category. So who's the most technically achieved here? I'll go first. This will be Battlefield 2042, Forza Horizon 5, Moncage, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, or Returnal. I don't think Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart really does anything too technically new besides, being more visually impressive and performance impressive because it's on next gen. Returnal, as much as I like, we very much have had bullet hells. We very much have had procedural generation and stuff like that. Battlefield 2042 even being nominated for technical achievement is just stunning to me.
Yeah, no. How many bugs did they fix? 150 in that one patch?
And they have another patch coming up, Jason, that you'll need to watch for on MMO Bomb, where they're speculating fixing another 100 or so bugs. How this is up for technical achievement
that's why. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle it runs.
It's a miracle it's still running, yeah.
I'm going to go Forza Horizon 5 on this one.
I'm going Forza
go ahead,
as
Yad.
well.
Oh, you're going Forza as well?
Yeah.
You are? Well, I'm going to actually go and take Returnal on this one. Because I do think it looked different enough. and was cool enough stuff and whatever.
So where are you going?
Returnal.
Returnal? Okay. All right.
I'm not taking these too seriously, just so we
know. Role-playing game of the year. RPG of the year.
Oh, we know what Yod picks there. I didn't have to look at the list. I don't even know what the nominees are.
You know what Mike's picking too?
Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Tales of Arise, or Wilder Myth. Yod, you go first.
Well, obviously, it's Endwalker.
Jason?
I'm going to go a little off because I heard a lot of people say really great things about Shin Megami Tensei 5. So that's going to be my pick.
So that's as much as I want to pick Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker.
Didn't you do that before? Weren't you like, oh, this is my heart pick. I want to pick this for whatever.
I know.
The best community. And
I know.
Like, no, I'm not going to do it.
I would have swept a bunch of the Game Awards on our predictions had I gone with my heart on a lot of them. I really do want to pick 14 here, but yeah, Shin Megami Tensei 5. And I think Tales from Arise might even have a little bit of an outside shot here. That was a great game. I haven't finished it yet, though. Role-playing game of the year. Shit. You took Shin. You took Endwalker. Give me Tales of Arise just so we're all different.
All right.
I wouldn't be surprised to see either of your two games win,
See,
though.
I don't mind picking the same as you guys because I'm just going to pick what to win. I want to pick what's going to win.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
One more.
Outstanding achievement in game design. Deathloop, Inscription, It Takes Two, Loop Hero, or Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, this is actual game design. Yeah.
Which one was Loop Hero?
Loop Hero was the one where you go, it's a roguelike where you go around in a circle or something. I remember seeing a little bit of it.
What do you got, Yad?
Deathloop.
Speaking of circles.
I'm going Deathloop.
Jason?
I gotta go with It Takes Two. It was just all the mini games that were so unique and different.
It's kind of hard to argue that one. Give me It Takes Two as well.
Okay.
Yep. How many categories is that? Do we
That was
need
5?
Okay, so we're at an odd number. We should be all right. I mean, we could have an odd, really bizarre tie, but that's fine. 5 categories should do it.
Good enough.
Actually, when are the awards? We might be able to do like what we did for the video game awards and just
You'll forget you did it next week.
Yeah.
February 24th. So we got.
Oh yeah. We'll come back next week and we'll do like 4 more. That way we're still at an odd number.
Okay.
Because you know you want to pick Resident Evil Village Lady Dimitrescu for outstanding character.
I would like to.
I was going to pick her for animation, but she didn't really move around that much. You know what I mean.
But
parts
the
of her
physics
did.
were great on.
Parts of her moved an awful lot.
Like I said, the physics were great.
Let's give you a couple little updates. We kind of teased this one a little earlier.
A little.
That there might be something else in the mobile market without physical media. Steam Deck did tweet out this week, Happy January. We have a small update for you today. Too long, didn't read. We're still on track to ship in February. So I think it's kind of funny that they're saying it that way because the February is a delayed release date. We're still totally on track to make the date that wasn't our original date. We're totally on track for it. So the first wave of Steam Decks should be making their way out in February. So I guess that means that I'm now like end of Q2, beginning of Q3, because I was end of Q1, beginning of Q2 in the initial release date schedule. I don't know how it works.
I forgot these were a thing.
Me too.
I didn't order once. I was like, whatever.
Hey, Rainbow Six Siege getting a little bit of a leadership change. For the 3rd time, the creative director is changing.
The 3rd creative director. So it's the 2nd change, I think. Yeah.
It has changed creative directors for the 3rd time. Yes.
Leroy
Athanasov.
Forgive us for butchering the names.
My apologies. Is going to be leaving Siege. Not leaving Ubisoft, though. Going to some other Ubisoft projects. On the move. You know, they didn't say, and they just lost. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Says, I wanted to let you know that due to personal reasons, I'll be leaving my role of creative director on Siege to pursue other opportunities at Ubisoft. Wasn't a decision I make lightly. I love this game and this community. I'm so proud of everything our team has accomplished together over the last 2 years, but I'm confident that it's the right one, and the team has given me their full support. Don't worry, I'm not going too far, and I have a feeling that my journey with this incredible game is far from over. So I probably won't have too big of an impact on this one.
The
But
fact they changed
it
the
is weird.
performance-
It is weird to like be like, hey, I'm leaving my position as editor-in-chief at MMO Bomb to go do something else at MMO Bomb for personal reasons. Wait, what? Why do you end the like? That's a weird thing to put in that type of statement for like a lateral move from one project to another. Like what? To put personal reasons in there just seemed a little weird to me.
Maybe someone in that group, that production group, didn't mesh right with him. Could have been something like that.
Justin saying maybe he didn't want to do quartz on Siege.
There's that.
Let's slide over and get started with our games of the week. This is the last segment of every episode of Gaming Gumbo where each of the three hosts is going to recommend to you a game we think you should check out. Could be something we're playing now, something we've played in the past, something we've never played but think maybe you should, whether it's tabletop, cards, board games, video games, mobile games, whatever, and you let us know in the comments on YouTube or on ReadyCheckRadio.com who gave the best recommendation. Jason, you're first.
You know, sometimes I'm just feeling like I'm lazy, but I want to play a game and I don't want to get stressed out. Just want to take it nice and easy and just look at stuff. I boot up Euro Truck Simulator 2. So I did that for the first time in like 6 months last week, or just it was like Saturday night. I didn't want to do anything, but I kind of wanted to play something, so booted that up, drove around Europe for a while. It's just nice and soothing. The hum of the truck engine, the beautiful landscapes going by, me crashing into street signs and other cars. It's lovely.
What do you got, Yod?
I'm going old school on you this time around because I've been thinking about the old Nintendo Entertainment System, all that stuff, and I'm going Double Dragon 2.
Ooh, why 2?
Because it was one of the first games that you could co-op play like that at home.
You could do that with Double Dragon 1.
Yeah, you could do that with 1.
No, you couldn't play side by side with your friend or brother or sister.
Really?
It was one person plays, then the next person. Double Dragon 2, you were both on the screen at the same time.
No, Double Dragon, you were both on the screen at the same time.
No, you were not. Double Dragon 1, you were the one brother, and you find out that your twin brother is the enemy at the end.
It looks like on some, like apparently on like the
Mm-hmm.
Sega Master System, apparently it was co-op. Maybe not on NES though. You might be right.
No, he is right. Holy hell! Talk about like totally, like what is that? One of those Mandela effect moments for me.
Right.
100%.
The title's called Double Dragon, and of course, in the horrible movie and the horrible cartoon show, the brothers were together. But in the original game, you fought your brother at the end. And
I
in
would
Double
have
Dragon
bet
2, he joins you.
I would have bet money you were wrong. Like, I vividly can remember sitting there with my buddy Ricky playing Double Dragon, 2 players, going through it. Like, I can vividly remember something that didn't happen.
Yeah, that was the second one, not the first one.
Or games like River City Ransom were kind of that same way with a co-op.
Oh, yeah, River City Ransom was awesome. I'm going to recommend Skies of Arcadia, and it doesn't matter whether you play it on the Dreamcast, if you play it on the GameCube, or you get it on PC, one of the PC releases. Tremendous role-playing game. If you have never played Skies of Arcadia, I still play my Dreamcast copy to this day. Such a fantastic game. It is also very good, maybe arguably a little better on the GameCube, and I have that too, but I got to boot up the original Dreamcast anytime I play it. Tremendous RPG. Chat, don't go anywhere. Right after the show today, we're going to go live with one of our own streams with Torchwick. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. A little bit blocky. Oh, never mind. The camera just fixed itself. All
Yay!
right. I was going to make a joke about it, but I guess I'm not allowed to be funny here. This
So
is the
we're
first time.
talking we're
Leave
talking
that to the
about some
experts.
retro games here. Well, except for Jason. You are continuing with games older than me. The game has to be older than you for you to even play it on your stream. You're in the middle of one of my all-time favorites, Zelda Majora's Mask. What do you think of the game so far?
Overall, I'm having a lot of fun, but I think I've stumbled across what is basically the water temple of this game, and that it's awful. No one likes it. It's
Havoc
confusing.
wooting you in chat. When I was watching your stream last week, Havoc was into the Zelda stream. Like
Oh,
I
you
talked
don't
to
know the half of it. I was
Yeah.
just in a conversation while you guys are all doing this with a Havoc. He was making sure I was still playing Majora's Mask today. In
Yeah.
my DMs here, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
I had to explain to him because I was like, yeah, Havoc was talking a lot. I was watching, but I wasn't typing in chat. I was doing some stuff, and I pulled him just Torchwick aside, and I was like, yeah, Havoc was in there, and he was like, yeah, he must really like this game, and I had to explain. I was like, Havoc loved Zelda, but loved watching Zelda being played, and honestly, when that game came out, I played it when it came out. But I had just moved out, so he might not be all that familiar with that. It might be like pretty much a new Zelda for him. So glad to see Havoc enjoying it. Chat, the rest of you, don't go anywhere. Channel will go down for about 15 seconds while we relabel everything, and then Torchwick will be back. We'll be back, of course, with another episode of Gaming Gumbo next Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. The Relic Grind on Thursday nights, and all of our other streams throughout the week. Until then, Yad, where can everybody find you?
Yada Artworks on Twitter, Yada Artworks on Facebook, and sorry for spoiling Double Dragon for you, Havoc, right here on Gaming Gumbo.
Jason.
Follow me on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter, and sometimes you will even find my Stegosaurus here, which, as you can see, is very spinny.
You got a lot of spinny stuff in that room. I'm Mike Byrne. Follow me right there, Magic Man 1. But more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO. And we'll tweet at you every time we go live with one of our podcasts or streams. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.